Boom. Um, question is, do you have anyone on your team or any advisors who are familiar with with autism development, treatment, clinical, so child development specialists and clinicians who treat these diseases?
The co-creator of the game is actually a speech pathologist. This was kind of her vision, her brainchild, to make a game that was really more the lesson plan she was creating daily. I know her talent because I'm married to her, so I know her well. But I know that this is definitely a task that she can accomplish. And then, of course, I'm helping her to see that vision through and make it something else, and do the writing as well as some of the creative design and work of that sort. So, and then we've got people here already at the School of Medicine as well as Behavioral Media Center who are very interested in contributing in which ways they can.
Which media center?
It's the Creative Media and Interactive Media. It's Mariantina Gonsis, who's from the Creative Director. So she wants to be a part of this and signed on. So.
And as you know, it's been selected for AGP for next year.
Yes, official as of Friday.
What does that mean?
Advanced Game Project.
And that means that this will be a game that students will work on over the course of a full academic year.
Having an academic partner might be a good idea, both for fundraising and just to show, because if you're going to get clinicians and therapists to recommend the game because of its efficacy, you'll need data to support the claim that it actually does teach social skills to people who are, at the wrong end, so to speak, of the autism spectrum. So that's great. That's great you're taking these steps.
So as I thought it was a really very well put together, thorough presentation. I was trying to find something that you were missing, and it was very difficult to do. And the only thing I come up with is again a little more of a specific example of teaching element or a result of interaction. The kind of interactions. I mean, again, it's I'm being very specific. I get the perspective, I get the look and feel. The art at the beginning is great. It's consistent through all the images throughout. Again, it's very well put together. Which would be great to get an idea. I mean, as somebody who's not that exposed to it personally, but certainly understands it in general, the part of the charm would be getting an idea of how it actually affects people. To use John's phrase. That's where it seems like this would be really charming, and it seems like such an easy thing to want to see built. And that's why I'm like, oh, I'm just too happy to hear it's being built.
Well, I think that one of the things maybe is that since you're using existing science and theory, those things have already been researched, so you can actually cite some of the results of those platforms in terms of the market. But I think having those stats saying that these three are being used because they've had 25% more efficacy than,
And I certainly don't mean this in any way to trivialize what you're trying to do. I'm trying to create an example, but I mean, anybody in my generation, when they hear autism, think of Dustin Hoffman, Rain Man, and it's an incredibly wonderful film. It's funny. It's family. It's emotion. She gives her someone. And there's so many anecdotes and memorable lines. So maybe even using something from that, or hey, people like numbers. I mean, you talk about video games and computers and technology, but actually getting specific in terms of maybe number training or memory recall, or some element that is used as a recurring tool or aid to teach these kids would be fantastic. Fantastic addition.
What was your inspiration for this?
Really, it was that I was sitting there one night and my wife was putting together a lesson plan for the next day, and she was working with autistic students. And so as we kind of brainstormed of what she should do for working with these kids about a specific concept, we mapped out sort of our own little role model, our role play scenario, and then I said, this would be a brilliant game. This could be such an easy video game. She went in and had them reenact ordering food, but then also going now behind the counter and being the person, let's say at McDonald's, right, who's taking the order and then serving the food.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so I love that there's something very organic about the conception of this game. I love the husband and wife team. I think there's a huge story here. I love that you have a very targeted market that makes sense. I'll tell you the things that, hopefully be helpful.
Sure.
Maybe in terms of, again, I didn't quite get what's the specific interactions, like what's an example of a specific interaction? Like you just told me right now something which I didn't see in the proposal. I know you guys had to go fast, you talk very fast.
Yeah.
You have a lot of material in 5 minutes. You did a great job of that, but that's something that might be helpful. I thought that you need more money for marketing, because I do think you should be hiring someone who is calling schools, calling speech pathologists, calling whoever it is out there.
Uh-huh.
Like, I think that you will, don't expect that you make something and then they come, and that word of mouth works.
Right.
You know, everybody, there's a million projects a year that die that way.
Uh-huh.
Is it ringing a bell? So,
Well, I was just gonna say, for my national campaign to prevent teen and unplanned pregnancy, what an organization. So to watch that game, we are going to spend $15,000 in PR. And this is the person that we hired on a contract basis and call the producers up of Today, et cetera,
Yeah.
and have a personal meeting and get our and story clips.
Okay.
And it's not a lot of money relative to the cost, but that's where you're going to get
Huge.
traction. You're going to need to have
we
it.
need a
Yeah.
Now, and someone who's experienced in that area. Now, another thing that I would say is, there were two things that were kind of like a little bit, little warning signs to me.
Okay.
One of them is the monetization
Uh-huh.
is, especially the in-app purchase thing, which I know is hot right now.
Right.
Is like, it seems at odds with the game that you're creating.
Totally in agreement.
So, and even to some degree subscription, although that's more arguable. I mean, what you're gonna find is like a speech pathologist or somebody like that is gonna wanna buy this
Mhm.
and own it, and not have to worry about recurring revenue,
Right.
because they probably aren't making a fortune.
Right.
Another thing that I was thinking about with the marketing was the targeting of the autistic kids and parents and students, whatever, that's all really great. When you talk about just kids that are, was it 5 to 10?
Yeah.
Which, you're not necessarily wrong, there might be really great things you can learn about it, but be very careful about it, because this is the type of game that could get stigmatized,
Okay.
where, a kid, I could see kids that are 5 to 10 are like, oh, this kid over here is playing it because he's autistic, I don't wanna have to play it because I'm not autistic.
Right.
And that would stigmatize me, and so if you can figure out either a marketing strategy for that,
Sure.
or just focus on your core and maybe it spreads from there, like, there's some thinking that has to be done there in order to be able to make that fully effective.
I think the best opportunity that any of the students have, make it through AGP, is they have the opportunity to learn and fail and relearn. And, the next academic year, Jeremy and his team will certainly, we'll stay tuned and find out.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Can I flip the table for a second, just ask of your expertise? I'm curious, because this is a business of interactive media, this game is sort of floating between, much to your point, this notion of, do we appeal to the biggest segment of that bell curve that we can to just sell more to everyday developing children, right? And just be a social coach, than to be something specifically for students with autism.
There's so many games out there that kids are playing,
Yeah.
to be able to say to a parent, hey, your kid should be playing this, I mean, my kids don't really listen to that. You have to keep them off certain games. So I think that if you go for the core, if you have a core that you can definitely hit, and you've got the expertise in your corner, and you're creating something for them, as long as you make the game economically, that it makes sense, or in a way that you can expand over the years if it's successful, I think that's your win. And you can expand out from autism to, other sort of maybe disorders, social disorders, I don't know, or Asperger's or whatever it is, but, I just think that that's a win for you.
To me, your core is dealing with autism as you defined it, and if you have success, you have the ability to find other sciences and other therapists that are going to be more specific to other aspects of child behavior.
I'll say one more thing too, the marketing for this might not necessarily be stores, it won't be retail necessarily. It might do some of that, but I think that if you get into a place like, I don't know if anyone knows Follett Education, they've been around for like 150 years, the largest educational publisher in the US, and they've been doing software for like 20 years. You get somebody to make your sale into there, and then you see how things go.
Yeah, I agree with everything Joseph and you said as well. I don't see this as being something, retail's dead anyways, but, and you certainly don't buy any digital in the store, but, at least in a physical store, but, you sounded like your inspiration, and again, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was really more towards the autism side of things, and I think that's where you invest and you double down, all those cliche things, but that's where your product is, because that's what the story is about, why this is important to you and why this could be important to any number of children and their parents and their families and all that type of stuff. And I think that's where you get a lot of, it's a really sticky, it's sticky and descriptive of how it's
My question is going to be for you, John. I mean, the university has so many different presses, so to speak, in terms of how it's published other work out of the university. I mean, I would think that successful in terms of how it results, that's the end of the next year, that there's some opportunities to where being associated with the university opens up some
Well,
doors.
There's a medical, small little hospital attached to USC.
Small.
Struggle with funding constantly. Yeah, I mean, and whatever your second game is, who knows, whether it's science related, it's education related, it's kid related, or if it's just an entertainment play. You're gonna learn all the things that you need to know to make an entertainment product by making this kind of entertainment product. And again, to go back to their point, because you have the opportunity to focus on such a specific audience, do it. Yeah, that's an advantage, huge advantage.
Be number one in that
Yeah.
audience.
And then you'll be famous because people will be talking about what an amazing transformation you guys had, what an impact you had on, again, millions of kids or hundreds of thousands of kids' lives and their families. And this is like Time Magazine, CNN. You imagine the dream playing out.
Hello, good morning,
That's why she
America.
deserves it all.
Yeah, I'm saying if it plays out and if the dream comes true, what this thing's promising, I mean, it really has that kind of, it touches us every day. You have athletes, on TV specials talking about their kids and things like that. It's something people really try to relate to and relate to each other to. So it's very powerful in that social context too.
So if it works.
So
I
that was
think
good.
that's the biggest weakness here, is that you have among experts that treat autism, or any disease, I mean, this is the new
Yeah, but
fold in serious games.
But things that affect
So you
children
need
are
to show
always the
efficacy.
easier ones, right?
What's that?
But the diseases and the conditions, the things that affect children are always the easiest ones to sell.
Well, actually,
They're the easiest ones to pull the strings, the
Yep.
heartstrings for, but the actual clinicians will demand evidence, and I think that's where the university relationship has the best, that's what will give you a competitive advantage that another game, any large game company you think of, they wouldn't be able to match it because they don't understand what's it gonna take to sell.
I mean, no publisher cares about this stuff,
scientific
frankly.
doubters.
I mean, there's not one single publisher in the history of the world, video game publisher, that gives a crap about this stuff.
but
And it's unfortunate.
to this point over here, I would go back to your slide about the
Just
the
being really
schedule.
frank.
Sure, yeah.
And how much time do you have in there for focus testing?
We built it into each one of our cycles,
Okay, that's
but
good.
I don't know that it's enough time depending on how the builds go.
That's your win,
Yeah.
because, not only will you make the game better, but then you could potentially get some data.
Yeah, the only way a traditional publisher cares about this is if somehow this gets more autistic kids to play Call of Duty. That's the in-app upgrade. Molly will sign you.
That's the in-app upgrade right there. Thank you, Jeremy.
I'll close on that, thank you.